So just one thing that I thought was really interesting as we kind of talk about, the impact of negative reinforcement. There was a study that was conducted. It actually spoke to the differences in positive and negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is really good at ensuring productivity. Positive reinforcement is actually more beneficial when it comes to qualitative goals.
Wagwan, are you there? What's good? And you know who this is, baby. The #1 podcast in America, dedicated to all you kings and queens of color, homies and homettes, shotters, woo gals, G-boys, and chargies. The one and only Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast.
So apart from your greatest insecurity, is there anything else of you individually you're working on currently? And I would say for me personally, like one of my probably recent revelations is like, I realize sometimes when people give you negative feedback or you feel like they're coming at you with some negativity that's out of nowhere, a lot of the times the problem is not you. So what I've learned to do lately is, one thing that I'm constantly working on, and I've seen the results of it, is taking myself out of the equation. So basically, I'm just eliminating my ego. I am now thinking to myself, there's no way, or why do I have the audacity to think that I have so much weight in this person's life that I am the direct cause of their anger or their frustration or their venting? So a lot of the times I realize when you take yourself out of the equation and you just look at the behaviors, you know what I mean? Look at what they're showing you and you pay attention to it. A lot of the times you realize it's not your fault. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we can take heat a lot of the times, or we take someone's response the wrong way, and that starts a lot of unnecessary tribulations. And you realize, the problem probably isn't really even me, especially if you didn't really do anything on your end that was causing anything offensive or unjustified. So it's just kind of like, take yourself out of the equation a lot of times sometimes when you feel like you're getting, feedback from your boss or a friend or a family member, and to even check in with the person and be like, yo, is everything good? Or when you leave that exchange, leave them with, hey, I hope all is well on your end. Because a lot of the times you will find out, yo, I was going through a shitty day. Oh, my relationship's not going so well. Yo, work is stressing me out. And then you realize, okay, it's not really you. So.
Yeah. To answer your question, Glenn, I know this is meant to be like a serious question, but you gave that cliche answer. He gave you.
Yo, I don't even know what's coming. Good.
I'm waiting for it.
Yo, chunky. Yo, you're funny. But okay. What I'm trying to say is sometimes we want this cliche answer like, oh, I want to be a better person. I want to be a better delegator. I want to be a time management, whatever, etc. But fuck that. I'm trying to lose this weight, bro. Yo, I got this 10, 15 pounds that got on me during COVID, and I've yet to get it off.
I mean, I've been
in the gym
that's
trying to lose it. I'm trying to work on my muscle so I can look good naked, right? Obviously, right? One.
But you should always look good naked in your
literally, bro.
I mean, so my point is that's what I've been working on the last 12 months, and it ain't working.
So
I don't know if y'all got pointers or something, but
it's different in your 30s, man. Get a nutrition plan.
Bro,
being a dad, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit hard. Because you don't got that time.
Yo,
wait till they get older, you're gonna have less time. So it's just like
I'm maintaining right now. I can't lose.
Diet. That's the best
nutrition plan.
Diet, yeah.
Our bodies change a lot from the 20s.
Yeah, man, I've been clanking the weights recently, and it's just like, oh, I know I have to eat better, but like if my child has leftover food like pizza that they, I'm
eating that shit.
I purchased it. I used my money to get it. So
like,
it ain't going.
It's like you running around the house.
It's like, this is consignments. This is, you don't own this. This is still mine.
Mine.
For some reason, like when I thought of that question, Glenn, I thought of this meme on TikTok that says, I don't know exactly how it goes, but it was like, I just want to like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's like, I just want to like be able to like slang the D or something, and you know what I'm talking about? I don't know. About. Yeah, exactly. That's what clicked. I wish if we got the audio, we'll share it on on IG so people know what I'm talking about. But
I mean,
yeah,
slinging the steel is important, especially as
yeah.
you age. I saw somewhere else they was like, yo, if you're in your 30s, start paying attention to this because shit starts going downhill. You know what I mean? The deed
I
is
mean,
not
it's
the
also
same.
it's also testosterone, right? So it's like
Yeah.
there's medical reasons why, and it's just like you can supplement that, or you can just come to grips with like, yo, this is how we're biologically set up. So it has nothing to do with you specifically. But knowing Glenn, he has all these like I forgot what episode he named like
Yeah.
90 things that he takes to.
Yeah, I think it's like diet adds to it too. You know what I mean? Because you're not 20 anymore, and if you eat like trash, there are certain foods that can kill your testosterone too. So it's like, you can't expect to be slinging the steel if you're eating burgers and fries every day.
I'm eating a
You know what I mean?
whole ass cow.
Nah, you ain't slanging.
You already
the steel
told us
like that.
you don't do that. You literally go around eating your daughter's leftover fries.
I have
Yeah.
to. I have to. Those chicky nuggies are delicious.
No, but like to be fair though, I do want to give myself some credit because I do be in the gym. It's just like it just won't come off. So
No one took credit from you.
I'm maintaining. So I just want I'm maintaining, but I can't lose.
Is that an insecurity? So is that moving up to the first question?
And I already get my insecurity, but I'm just
Gary
saying,
said
this is what I'm working.
This is what I'm working.
Answer.
This is what I'm working constantly to improve on.
I am so proud of you.
I'm trying to build this muscle so I can look good naked.
Once again, come over here.
Confused
come
because
over here
I
and fuck
thought,
with me.
because friend, when we play basketball, you have all types of abs. I'm trying my body goals is to get like you, bro.
I ain't trying to get abs anymore.
I'm like, what is he talking about, bro? He chisels his hub.
Always get better. What about you, D? What are you working to improve other than your insecurity?
I don't know. I feel like I'm always. It's not a cliche answer. It's just a little bit not a specific answer because I'm always in a constant state of self-improvement. I think it's important to always be asking yourself what you can do better. I will say that it sounds very simple, but it actually isn't because you literally are constantly asking yourself, asking yourself a question of, am I better at this? Can I improve this? Do I run faster? Do I jump higher? Like you're constantly dissecting everything. So, I don't know. So I feel like it will drive you a little crazy though sometimes. But the ultimate goal is to kind of continue to be improving. That's me. That's what I feel like makes me ultimately a better person. And I think specifically, I've been working on being more understanding, being a better listener, being more understanding. And I feel like that's one of the things that will better help me in my working space and in my personal space as well.
All right, it's fair. Chunky, what about you? Adding more violent repertoire or what?
Yeah, violence is always number one on my list to improve. So I would say honestly, it's just working on delivering a message better. There's some things I want to say and it comes out fueled by passion and the intent is appropriate, but the delivery isn't. And also in situations where I'm flustered or frustrated, it just doesn't come out well. So learning how to articulate information to someone, whether it be emotional, whether it be professional, whether it be personal, that's what I strive to do, right? So it's easy to tell someone to go fuck themselves, right? But it's not easy to tell someone like, hey, I value your opinion, I understand where you're coming from, but I cannot align with what you're saying. I do not have the patience to listen to things that are not true to me. So in order not to disrespect you, I'd rather just not carry this conversation. Pretty much it's just stuff like that. People say some things that's just like, yo, you're out of pocket. And this is like, I don't want to deal with it. Nothing against you, but we have this thought that our emotions are limited, right? But it's unlimited. So you think of our emotions, it's just like how the waves come into the beach. It gets replenished. But in our heads, it's just like, yo, like, I'm not going to get mad at something. I'm not going to waste my energy on this. And we think like, hey, like I got mad at someone at work. I'm going to come home and I'm going to kick the cat. But it's just like, hey, that shit that happens at work. And it goes to what Glenn's saying. It's just like, I had to take myself out of it. I have to be able to realize that I still got miles to go in life. I can't let this shit stress me out. I can't have a heart attack at the age of 36 because I'm frustrated about something, right? And that person's frustrating me for whatever reason they have going on. But I wasn't able to articulate to them my level of discomfort. And in my mind, it's ego too. It's just like, how do I express to you something without quote unquote dropping my ego? But it's just like, fuck ego at the end of the day. It's just like, I need to send a message to you so I can better function in this environment. That's what it is at the end of the day. How can I function better in life? And if I'm able to start conveying messages to people, no matter who they are and what they do, no matter how the emotion that they cause, that's what I'm working. It's just like, I'm able to speak to you directly. You understand it. You don't feel disrespected or slighted. And I don't have to get upset. My blood pressure doesn't go from 75 to like 180. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's where I'm at.
Absolutely. That's a great point there. And to kind of tie it in with the next question, as far as creating environments for us that are conducive, to our overall development, do you believe that we should accept people for who they are, flaws and all, or at some point we're responsible for holding one another accountable? And let's start off with D on this one.
Oh yeah. I was actually just about to jump in anyway. But like, no, 1,000%, you should hold people accountable. Especially if you value them, you should hold them accountable. I think it's too often, it goes all the way back to, an earlier discussion where we were kind of talking about, during CP time, the friends that may not necessarily have your best interest and things like that, and not necessarily truly building those type of relationships. People don't hold each other accountable because they don't have that relationship to hold each other accountable. They just literally like, oh, I don't agree with you on this premise, and then I'm just gonna go my way, you go your way, and we move on, right? But we actually establish true bonds because we hold each other accountable. Not just because someone says something that you like makes them someone that you should keep in your circle. You should get people that may not agree with you on everything. You shouldn't be mirror images of each other, just agreeing straight down the line. So like to Chunky's point very earlier on, when it comes to having a dynamic in a relationship where people have different types of ideologies, yeah, you want to be different in thinking. But, even taking that to a friendship level as well, you still want to apply that same mindset. So, anyway, so keeping people accountable, very, very, very important, especially if you want to have genuine relationships moving forward, within your life.
So is there like any obstacles to tack on to that one when it comes? I know I'm aware of how difficult it can be to keep someone accountable that you quote unquote love, right? Or this is my boy, this is my homie. And I think a lot of the times we get into a trap where, and I'm guilty of it as well, where I just give it a pass. So I'm just, I'm not really one to give like people passes, but it's just like, there's some things I've overlooked just because I'm just like, they'll change, or, this is just who they are, but they really come from a good place. And it's just knowing when essentially to like, and how to draw that line. And, even if that means having that awkward ass conversation and it results in somebody blowing up. I think we've all seen like our methods of conflict resolution personally. And I just feel like, it is ideal to do. I do believe we should hold one another accountable, but the action of doing it is where it becomes kind of tricky or muddy, or we tend to give passes to people that we feel like, oh, this is just who they are. Like, they really mean well, but this is just who they are. And we get caught up in that trap and your friendships gets questioned. And I think it's just tricky to navigate, but I do agree it is necessary, but it may not always look the way that we say it is.
I think you can do both. So when holding someone accountable, you hold them to their standard, not the standard that you think they should be at. So I have to be able to fully accept you for who you are. I can't tell you to perform up here when that's not your capability. It has nothing to do with you as an individual or how quote unquote shitty you are, but that's just not where you're at. Let's be honest. Like I can't do some of the stuff that you do or some of the stuff that D Black does. I'm just not at that particular level and that particular quality, right? But there's other qualities that I'm good at. But I don't expect to hold y'all to my qualities, right? Like, oh, you didn't punch that person in the face, I'm gonna hold you accountable for not like defending yourself. It's like, no, that's not your method, right? Yeah. But if you're in a situation where you sit a step forward using what's better in your capabilities, so like for Glenn, like you have a very good way of explaining things, right? And it's like you decided not to say something. Okay, why didn't you say something? You have the potential, you have the capability, and giving people a pass is not letting them slide. It's just like, yeah, sometimes like that's who they are. I understand that message. Going back to what you said, it's just like maybe they're having a bad day, right? So I have to be mindful of like, where is this coming from at the end of the day? This is kind of out of nowhere. So it's just like, all right, well, maybe we'll talk about it later. But if it happens again, then that's where that accountability piece comes in. It's just like, hey, you did this the first time, chalked it up to you having a bad day. Let's have that conversation. If people know that you're coming from a good place, they're not going to take it the wrong way. You're able to work through emotions. Because believe you me, there's a lot of people that don't want to hear negative about themselves, right? That's one of the hardest things you can do as an individual, is to sit there and hear some type of criticism about you. But any criticism is something that will help you grow, whether how you manage that criticism or if you rise to the occasion, just to tell someone, hey, hold my beer, watch me do the shit that you thought that I couldn't, right? So it's all about how you conceptualize it. So to me, to sum it up, you can hold people accountable and accept them for who they are. That's what the perfect mix is to pretty much push your loved ones forward. Like, I know you can't do certain things. Let's work on it together. Hey, you know better than that. I'm going to remind you, like, hey, this shit is not okay.
What's good? It's your homie G with the Jerk Jollof and Collard Greens podcast, extending a major thank you